What if I told you that Sega Genesis had better soundtracks than Super Nintendo?
Oh.
I mean, I would say that is a matter of opinion.
You can just tell him he's wrong. It's okay. It's really fine.
Yeah.
Well, guys, welcome to episode 14 of Streamforge Radio. I'm Xavier. I'm your co-host and co-founder at Streamforge. As usual, I'm with Meredith.
Hey, guys.
And we have today AshSaidHi. Hello there.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
We're super happy to have you on, and I'll introduce you if you let me. AshSaidHi is a Twitch ambassador and partner with more than 11,000 followers, 3.2 million plus channel views on Twitch. She's an artist, traveling enthusiast, and collector of games, consoles, and coins. I love that. Fellow collectors. Loved throughout the community for her insanely positive, energetic personality. It's AshSaidHi. We're super happy to have you. And I already love the collection you have behind you. So...
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, that's a lot. If you guys are listening, you're not seeing, there's a lot of plushies behind Ash right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you know what's sad is just like yesterday I just got like 3 more.
You're gonna run out of room.
I know, right? I know. The whole thing is just gonna turn into like I'm just gonna be in one of those claw machines eventually. This is gonna happen.
That's true. You can start your own claw machine company.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I have the same feeling about my collection. I'm guessing yours too. Like we could start like a retro gaming like shop, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I just returned from New York and I got a bunch of games here and like a bunch of like Super Nintendo games. Sorry, my cat's joining us too.
That's great. Hello.
She does this. This is like, see, if you were watching on Twitch, this is like a very normal occurrence. I'll be playing the game, talking, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a party going on in there. Let me join in.
It's actually her channel. Like, you're just, she's inviting you to join. It's very kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's the real star of the show. I don't even know what I'm doing, but but yeah, like I just got some new games, got some new plush. The collection is ever growing. I think that's like definitely one thing that I'm super passionate about is about like collecting games and game preservation and stuff like that. So yeah, welcome to my little humble abode here.
Yeah, that's great. I was actually in New York as well. I just came back Monday. And I saw, I think it was I don't know if it was a stream where you were at Nintendo World.
Yeah,
Nintendo
I was at
store,
the
yeah.
Nintendo store. Yeah. I lived in New York, so I'm originally from New York, and then
Right.
I moved out about 2 years ago. I moved down south, so yeah, that's my home.
Fun.
And,
I was there, and I got a tip for anyone going to New York, and more specifically the Nintendo store. So I was able to fortunately buy a Nintendo 64 controller for for the Nintendo Switch Online, the new wireless N64 controllers they have. They're like sold out online everywhere, and
Yeah.
I saw them. They have a little box there, a glass box where they showcase the controller, and I asked, do you have any in stock? I have to confess, I was a bit of a smart ass with the guys at Nintendo, because like I tried to get 2, and they said, well, we can only give 1, and I was like, that makes no sense, because online you can get 4, right? Typically online you can get 4.
Right.
So I was like, sure, we'll get 1, and I sent my wife over to get another one a few hours later. So I have to confess, I can't sleep at night with this information, so I had to share. It's very selfish of me. I have to share that information, but I was really happy to get the N64 controllers from there, because it's really difficult to get them online. And if you guys know me, like N64 is my console, like our favorite console of all time. Anyways, if you guys are looking for N64 controllers, Nintendo store in New York, they still have some, so you can get them there.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I know you have to have like the Nintendo Online account
Yeah, that's true.
to be able to purchase them there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when I went, I guess they had just gotten a shipment because they didn't have any when I went. Because I only have one that
Really?
I ordered from the website. So I was like,
Mm.
oh, maybe I should get like a second one, just in
Mm-hmm.
case or whatever.
They were
But
fresh off the boat.
yeah,
Okay.
man. You just got them.
Uh,
Just came out right out of UPS. They were like stacking them out. Oh, we got one right here for you.
But
That's
I was
awesome.
I was a bit disappointed with Nintendo Store, to be honest. Like, the stuff they have is great. Like, it's fun to go there. I go there every time I go to New York, which has been like 15 times now, probably. And but I wish they had more exclusive stuff. Like the exclusive little section is very tiny. There's a few shirts, a few things, but like, I don't know. And they used to have more. I feel like more. They used to have more like exclusive figurines and whatnot. I don't know. I just would hope that they had more exclusive stuff. Do you share that feeling, Ash?
I mean, when I went there, yeah, there's definitely room for growth. I think in terms of, getting some things that just have Nintendo New York on them. I think what I'm gonna eventually do is just save up all my pennies to go to the Nintendo store in Tokyo,
Ooh,
because
yes.
there's a plethora of exclusive things. But they do specialize in having like exclusive apparel. This was actually one of
True.
them
Yeah, I saw
that
that.
I
Yeah,
got from many, many,
Hmm.
many years ago. But
it was still
uh,
there actually.
huh?
It was there. It's still there last weekend.
Oh,
So
really? This one?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice. Okay,
yeah,
that's good to know.
yeah.
Yeah, when I went there, they didn't have it, but they had like a cool new they had like these two women's shirts that were like pink, and one was like a periwinkle blue that I never saw before. So I got the pink one because the Nintendo logo had like glitter in it. So I was
Love
like,
it.
oh,
Yes.
yes. I'm all about
Amazing.
the sparkles, so
Mm-hmm.
I was
I
like,
feel
I
you.
need this. Yeah.
You
But
either love
yeah,
it or
yeah,
not.
yeah. I want to
Because
save my money for
yeah,
Nintendo the Tokyo store.
Tokyo
That
Yeah,
sounds amazing. Yeah.
makes sense.
yeah.
Makes sense.
And Universal when that opens up because I
That's true. Is that going to be in Florida or California?
think they're gonna do both eventually.
Okay.
I think it's starting, the first one will open in Cali first.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun to go there. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. I
I
can't
was
wait
thinking
to
about
ride that
going to
Mario Kart
California.
ride. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And I started playing some games with my kid. He likes Mario and Kirby and all that stuff. So I can see myself going there with him.
Oh, he would love it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually in New York without the kid last weekend, and the whole time I was like, oh, you'd love this, I'd love that, and we took pictures with I went to the Lego store and I took a picture with Hulk, and made it out of Legos, and it's I made a big Hulk I don't know pose beside it, and he really liked seeing that kind of stuff. But I felt bad. I was like. I'm teasing him. You know what I'm saying? It's he loves
Now
seeing
he's
it. But it's
making a
haha, you're not
Christmas
there.
list. He's like, I'm gonna get you, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm writing this all down.
Yeah. But anyway, so great. So New York being very close to you, you were born in New York. New York City or New York area?
Yeah,
Or
New
New
York
York City?
City. New York City. I was born in Brooklyn.
Very cool.
But I lived in Queens pretty much all of my life. And yeah, I lived, worked, played, did everything there. And now I'm living in the South where, the air is a little bit fresher. Like when I came back home, it was honestly the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh my God, I could smell all the flowers. Like it was this, but it was also
Mhm.
humid too. So it was like
Yeah.
I could really smell all
Yeah.
the flowers and stuff. But yeah, it's nice, and the cost of living is a little bit lower, so I can, focus on my content creation and, live a happy, well-balanced life.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be in trouble in New York with the room you have there, because the rent would be tremendous, just because you need just one room for all that stuff, right?
Oh
It's
yeah. Yeah, when I was living in New York, pretty much everything was in boxes.
right.
I still had a lot of stuff. In fact, I had slightly more. Like I did get rid of some things when I moved, but only if I had a double or a triple of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I feel you. Where does that love for collecting comes from? Would you say?
Well, I would say, I mean, it stemmed from my love of gaming. Like definitely gaming and playing video games and stuff like that. It's not just something I do for fun. it's also something that's really personal to me because my parents were very heavy into video games. Like my mom still plays video games. When I went to New York and I was staying with my mom, she played Elden Ring the whole time.
Yeah, you tweeted about it. You had a tweet about her being like, my mom just finished the game. Like, yeah that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, like she was like level like 86, I think, and she was like, I had to stop leveling up because my guy is so strong and now the game is really easy. And I'm like, wow, problems, gamer problems. But yeah, like my dad, I inherited all of his collection and stuff, and he had like an Amiga 500 and PlayStation, Super Nintendo, Xbox, all that stuff. Like his favorite games were like Mass Effect and like the Star Wars games and RPGs and stuff like that. And so I grew up, playing games with my family and my cousins. And whenever I'm on Twitch and I'm telling people about like, like my experiences in life, I can always remember back to like a lot of these great memories of playing games with my family. So it's very personal to me. Whenever I'm sharing those stories, it's like this is like a part of who I am. And being around games for so long, and I also worked in the gaming industry for a long time. So being around video games, like it just felt like it molded me into the person that I am, like so I have very personal and like very loving feelings towards video games. Like I'm very enthusiastic about it. So that's always what I try to share. And because of being around games for so long, well, when I, started like there wasn't a lot of video game merch out there. Like it was very difficult to find licensed merchandise. So anytime I saw something licensed for like Nintendo or any kind of game, I got it because it's like you can't just like walk into like a regular store. Now though, you can find that stuff anywhere, even though like I'm still kind of like on the hunt for stuff like that's like really unique or rare. But yeah, that's kind of where it comes from. It's just like, oh my gosh, what does this store have that I never saw anywhere else, So
Yeah. What is your favorite console and favorite game? I'm very curious about this.
Oh man, I feel like it teeters between Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1, honestly. Super Nintendo probably will get like the number one from me just because that's what I grew up with. And I remember when I got Link to the Past, right? Like I pretended to be sick. Stay home from school. I specifically
Classic.
remember I told my mom I had an earache and a stomach ache and whatever. And I remember they sent me home in the middle of the day from school, and I was like, yes, play Link to the Past. And
you ran home,
I ran home. Yup, I ran home like, oh, I don't feel so good. Oh, but you feel good enough to play video games, though. Yeah, because, I get to lay in bed. I don't got to, like, move around or whatever. But, yeah, I think Link to the Past is always, like, the first thing I think of. Like, if I was on a desert island and I had to be stuck with one game forever for the rest of my life, I think I would never get sick of playing that just because I don't know. There's something about the music that's like magical to me and like exploring and like the sprites, I really love that game. So that would probably be it.
Yeah, talking about the music, I heard you were kind of a big fan of SNES music. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I collect video game soundtracks. When I went to Tokyo in 2016 on my own, and in Tokyo they have Tower Records, and my little mind was blown when I went and there was like a whole floor and a whole section dedicated to video game music. Like I lost my mind because I started buying like every CD I could of whatever game soundtrack I could find, and I ended up getting like Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and a bunch of games like that. Like this also stemmed from my, oh my gosh, I can't believe they make merchandise of this stuff, like collector and me wanting to get this stuff. But there's something about like the sound that the Super Nintendo creates, like one of my favorite number one soundtracks of all time is a game called Lagoon, which was also, I found out, also released on the Sharp X68000. And that soundtrack version is like really like rich, but because I grew up with the Super Nintendo one, that's always going to be the one that I love the most. But that soundtrack is so good. And Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, there's like some really great tunes in there. But yeah, I just find that like Super Nintendo RPGs like Breath of Fire and you know, Illusion of Gaia and Lufia and all of those games, like I just love those soundtracks. So I
If you
try to
could
find them
only
online.
If you could only pick 3 to listen to for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Definitely Lagoon,
Yeah.
Mystic Quest, and probably Secret of Mana.
Okay. Okay.
What if I told you that Sega Genesis had better soundtracks than Super Nintendo?
Oh.
I mean, I would say that is a matter of opinion. Simply because
You can just tell him he's wrong. It's okay. It's really fine.
I mean, it's universally recognized that the Super Nintendo had the better sound chip. It is universally recognized. Now, if you were to say the Amiga, because a lot of Amiga games were, you know, translated over onto to Sega Genesis, then I might be like, okay, you might have a point, but there are some really great Sega Genesis soundtracks like Landstalker and Shining Force 2 and, you know, Phantasy Star and Streets of Rage. Like,
There you
Streets
go.
of Rage is absolutely incredible. So,
Oh yeah. Are you familiar with Data Disc?
the Data Disc?
Yeah, Data Disc. Yeah, it's a company, so like not sponsored at all. I'm just a big fanboy of their stuff. So they're remastering, and I'm sure I'm explaining it poorly. You know, if you know, I'm not speaking on their behalf. It's my personal experience, but like they remaster video game soundtracks from the Sega. It's not specifically Sega Genesis. It's more the Sega library. And but a lot of Sega Genesis, like Shinobi and stuff like that, Streets of Rage is a good example. And they put him in vinyl form, you know. And there's like I bought every single one of them limited. Like they have a limited edition as well. That's, you know, actually limited. And I got all the limited editions of all their vinyls. And yeah, there's like 20 plus. And it's just amazing. The passion that goes into this to preserve, again, it's about preservation to me, at least, you know, preserve that work that was put into these games, the talent, the composers that have, like, you know, that have created those soundtracks. You know, to me, like, it's just tremendous. And I was just curious, and I'm not sure there's an equivalent for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that. I do have some vinyl, but I don't know if they're by the same company. Probably not, because the vinyl that I have, like I have Castlevania and I have some like Zelda vinyl, and I think I have a couple of others, but I'm gonna have to look into that because yeah, I agree with you. Like, first of all, having them on vinyl, like I feel like, you know, records have like this warm, rich sound that, you know, some other medium, you know, lack. But just having them in a physical form, or being able to, like, you know, have the artwork on the wall, or like see like the artwork of the record itself is something really cool to have in your hand. But also, I love the idea of preservation. Like, whenever I find out that a game is going to be lost to time because some digital store went down or some company lost the license to it or something, like, I feel like I lose a piece of my soul, you know, like, because I feel like it's so important for these games to be accessible, especially for, you know, people creating games now or students creating games now. Like, I think that's so important for them to have that access, so that way they can be inspired to create new games and new art in the future. So that's a really cool project. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, they're really good. I'm not responsible for your credit card bill. Okay, I'm just gonna say it right now. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to sign some document after this episode. No, but it's a really good, it's a really great project. I invite anyone who's, a fan of video game soundtracks and just vinyl collection, collecting vinyls for video games, whatnot, to check them out. I think it's data-disc.com. Again, not sponsored, just a great project that I'd like to give a shout out to. Yeah, and so, like, how do you live with like SNES music and like in your everyday life? Like, do you wake up to SNES music? Like, do you like make your coffee
it's
with
your alarm?
Yeah, like, or putting like the Lagoon soundtrack while you're like watering your plants? I don't know. Do you listen to a lot of video game music in your day-to-day life?
No, that's a really great question. Honestly, not as much right now, but there was a time when like I would sit down and create art and just like turn video game soundtracks on. Or sometimes like when I'm working late at night and I'm like, working on graphic, because I do visual and graphic design. I'll like turn on, because I have two computers here. My Mac is for when I do graphic design, so I'll turn that on and start working on it, and then have my PC just running like video game soundtracks. Like, I love to have the Chrono Trigger soundtrack on in the background, or like, like I said, Secret of Mana or any of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, like there was a time on my iPod that I had more video game music than any other kind of music. And I remember, like, they don't have this concert anymore, but I remember going to Blip Fest and like chiptunes like
Right.
concerts and stuff. Man, oh man, I hope that they bring that back one day. But I love that kind of synthetic, like, chiptune style music, whether it's for video games or not. So um yeah, I'll turn it on and then get my day going. Some of them are like, or like some of them have like really high energy, but then it's also like kind of nice to just like kind of chill and just like zone out.
Right.
So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, like you mentioned that you're an artist, right? Like you spend a lot of time doing art. So do you do graphic design? Is that like your day job kind of thing?
Yeah, it was my
Okay.
day job for quite some time. I went to school for visual and graphic design. The first school I went to school for illustration, and I studied art for
Cool.
a few years, and then that school got too expensive, so I left.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and then I transferred to another school, and then I completed my degree in graphic design, and I studied advertising as well. And yeah, I did that for like probably 15 years. And then after COVID and like, like my job shut down and all that kind of stuff, like I was creating content on Twitch from March of 2019. So I've been streaming on Twitch for 3 years. But then once COVID kind of happened and then I started doing it more, it started to become a viable source of income.
Sure.
And then I kind of started to focus on that a bit. But then through COVID, I actually was able to like pay off all my student loan debt and my credit card debt.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it kind of liberated me in the sense that I didn't have to be locked down to like a full-time job, which was really nice, because then now I can set my own schedule. And I've actually learned quite a bit through content creation in terms of like negotiating contracts and freelance work, and learning how to do taxes for like somebody that's self-employed and stuff like that. Like, I kind of learned a lot from it and became self-sustainable. So I've just kind of been focusing on this for a little while. But yeah, I mean, I love graphic design and visual design. I do all my own like overlay and like arts and stuff like that. But I have some friends that help me with like emotes and things like that. But yeah, I love print production. That's one of my favorite classes, was print production.
Cool.
And sourcing material and stuff like that. I really love doing that kind of stuff. So
And do you still make art like for fun?
yeah, absolutely. I
Cool.
did a painting of Shantae recently. That was really, really
Oh,
awesome. And I have a couple of pieces that are in progress right now, and some digital work that are in progress right now. So
cool.
it's like a form of meditation for me. I really love creating art. It helps me feel alive, like traveling. Like, it helps me feel like I'm doing something, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. That's awesome. I feel that way about traveling for sure too. So, where's like the last place that you visited?
So the last new place that I never been to before
Yeah.
was San Diego.
Yeah, I just came back from there.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think?
I really loved it. I was there in April. The weather was really like mild
Mm-hmm.
and it was really nice. I stayed a lot in Balboa Park and of course went to
Mm-hmm.
like, the zoo and went to like all the parks and stuff in there and the museums and things like that. So yeah, it's a very beautiful city. And I was like, I had dinner one night on the water and I went to
Mm-hmm.
the USS Midway, which was very unexpected. Like it was like something that I didn't expect that I'd enjoy,
Yeah.
but it blew my mind when I did go because I learned so much from being there. And yeah, it's a really beautiful city, but man, the gas prices, it was like six
Oh yeah.
dollars a
Oh
gallon. It was like
yeah.
so
It's
expensive.
brutal. It's
Yeah.
so brutal. I was like, oh no, I'm walking.
But yeah, I would definitely, well, I am gonna go back in October actually, but yeah, definitely would go back and explore more of the Gaslight District and
Mm-hmm.
other things that I missed out on.
I have a question for you about you when you started spending more time on Twitch,
Sure.
and when you started seeing this as a potentially viable way to make a living as well. What would you say was like the one thing that created that switch in your mind? You know, where you were like, okay, like I can take this to the next level potentially, or I can make a living doing this.
Hmm.
Was there one thing that you can pinpoint?
I think doing it and like realizing I had autonomy over everything that I did. And then like, knowing that I could actually negotiate and be successful at it. That's when I really realized like, hey, this is a space where you can work with people and really, have a positive impact on others, and make a good living for yourself. Like content creation is a growing industry, and I think that there's a lot of people learning how to work with content creators and learning like understanding like how to pay them and what's right and things like that. And I think that the first time I negotiated my first contract and was like, this is how much I want to be paid, and this is what, we're gonna do and things like that. And it worked, and we found like a really great happy medium. I was like, okay, I can do this. Like it really made me feel empowered. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really nice. And I think also the first time somebody came to me and was like, hey Ash, seeing like a woman in content creation and like especially being successful and doing what you do really inspires me. And knowing that I had that kind of impact on somebody and then allowed them to go out and create content and build their own space was incredible to me, because I feel like seeing different people like multicultural and women and all kinds of people like creating content and feeling like they have like a voice in the space was really nice. It was really amazing. So I feel like that for me, and just being able to do this and have a good work life balance. That
Hmm.
was really nice. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Tell me more about your name. I'm curious. I've been curious for a while now. Ash said hi. Why in the past? Why did you say hi, not just Ash says hi?
That's a very good question. So I'll tell you why. Remember, I said that I have a degree in graphic design and advertising. So when I did my advertising classes, I had a really great professor that always taught us to think of concept before anything. You have to think of your ideas and why you're doing something. And so I always knew I wanted to get into content creation, but I didn't know how. And like I said, when I first started on Twitch, I was working, and before I had a job that had no work-life balance, but then I switched jobs, and then I had a job that gave me work-life balance. And then I was like, oh, now I can like, create content like in the evening or whatever. So I didn't know where to start. And I had a friend that was on Twitch, and I had made a Twitch account in like 2016, but I never really used it because I was like, if I could play video games, why would I watch somebody else play video games? Like that didn't make sense to me. But then eventually I started going on there after, like I had more time to kind of allocate to this. And I was like, okay, I kind of get it now. Like I see why people will go on there, because it's like more about meeting people and connecting with others. So I was like, this is where I'm gonna go. But at first I was like, when I wanted to create my videos, I wanted to have a tagline that I could always say at the end. And I knew that I wanted my channel to be about being friendly, kind of like the Mr. Rogers of video games, like making other people feel welcome, and just creating that like, friendly space. So I was like, okay, think about it like if I saw a mutual friend on the street and they know Ash, like I'll be like, hey yo, Ash said to tell you hello. And then that person will go back and be like, oh, that's right, she said hello. Let me go check on her, give her a text or whatever, see, how she's doing. So I wanted to create that like remembering, like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She said to say hi to her. And I wanted to end my videos. Don't forget to tell your friends Ash said hi, with that call to action at the end to get people to remember to come back. So Ash said hi, ASH, is an acronym of Ash, which is my name, Ashley. Don't forget to tell your friends Ash said hi.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for the explanation.
That's cool.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. I think that it's also smart. I mean, I love it. And the fact that you've like implemented it into your, I guess your branding, if you will.
Yeah.
I guess we could say it like this. So being a woman in the video game industry and being on Twitch, like, how do you feel the space is evolving around being a woman on Twitch?
Well, I think that as we see more content creators, gaining visibility and having a voice, I think it's showing other women that they have a place here and that they can, have a voice and do things that they love and be a part of video games. Like you always hear stories about like, some of the things that go on Twitch, or like, how sometimes women don't feel welcome in the space and stuff like that. And I feel like as more and more people become active in doing and creating this kind of content, it's, like I'm seeing people who look like me also creating this thing that I really love, and I want to be a part of that too. I actually, while I was in New York, had a young girl reach out to me who was writing a paper in college, and she was like, can I interview you? As like I want to interview like women in gaming, and I came across your profile on Instagram, and would you help me write this paper? And I was like, absolutely. And then we got on the phone, and she was like asking me like, all these questions about being a woman being a woman in the gaming space and stuff like that. And she was like, I know you don't know me very well, but you really inspired me to look into, a career path in this world. And it made me so happy because, like I remember when I was working in the video game industry, and there were some things that I was experiencing that like I would never want to happen to any other person, period. And when she told me that, I was like, the more people we have being a part of this space, the more open it will become for more people to be a part of this space. So that was like such a beautiful thing to me. And then I was like, listen, if there's anything you ever need, you feel free to reach out to me anytime. And it just made me so happy that she wanted to be a part of this space now, and wanted to make it more welcoming for other women in the gaming industry. So that's something that I feel like I never would have anticipated happening in becoming a content creator, but it's such a great thing. Like it's such a happy thing to also happen and also be able to play video games and make people laugh and have fun.
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's an amazing story. Glad to hear that. And going back a bit to like the where your name comes from, if you will. You mentioned like that the concept was from a professor at school, right? Mentioning that, you know, everything you do needs to have a purpose, or, you know. And I want to ask you that question very directly, but like I'm genuinely super curious about like, why do people come to your channel? And I mean, let me be more clear. Why do you think people come and see said hi on Twitch?
I mean, I want people to relive the sense of nostalgia that they had with their favorite games. Whenever I think of why someone would come to my channel, that is always the first thing that I want them to feel is like, whether or not like they grew up with these games that I'm playing, I want them to feel that love and that energy that I have, that excitement for either discovering a new game that I never got a chance to play, um, or like having fun and, you know, reminiscing with a game that they really, really, really love. Like I was playing Morrowind on Monday. I just started this
Yeah, I
game,
saw that.
Morrowind Monday. Oh my gosh.
Love that game. I used to play that game on Xbox quite a bit, actually.
Oh man, it's so good. And that's what I get in the chat. I used to play this game on Xbox. I used to play this game on PC. I have so many good memories of playing this game, you know, when I was growing up, or just listening to the music. And then when people share those stories with you, that is your opportunity to connect with them
Mm-hmm.
and be like, "Oh my gosh, like thank you for sharing that with me," or "I did that too," or "Didn't you love doing this with this game that also had like a similar composer," or some kind of like, or do you remember like getting lost on this map, and like just like remembering like the best parts of why we play video games and what makes us love these video games, and connecting with people through that joy and nostalgia. That's what I always tell people. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's like a part of my catchphrase, but it's definitely a part of the concept of my channel, like connecting with people through that joy and nostalgia. And even when we're playing new games, because I do occasionally play
Yeah.
like, you know, modern things on the Switch and stuff like that, there's still some of that, oh my gosh, like I feel like a kid again playing these games, and you know, creating this space where people can come and feel happy and comfortable, and you know, just feel like they're sitting on a couch next to somebody, you know, watching their favorite game and playing something together.
Talking about this, do you allow backseating?
It depends. I do have a secret worried cherry if I don't know something. But you know what? That's a good question, because at first I didn't. Like I was very strict about that. Like I was just like, "Oh my gosh, don't come in here and be a troll and tell me how to play a game." I know like the first time I played Doom ever, I got a lot of that. You know, I
Like the
got a
first
lot of
one?
that because I never played Doom before.
Mm.
And they were like, "Oh, this secret and that, whatever." But you know what? When I started doing Amiga in the AM, and then I would allow people to kind of be a part of the experience, it honestly became 100 times more fun. Like, instead of taking it in a way of this person is telling me how to play, it was we're playing together. So
Exactly.
help me figure it out, or tell me like what did I miss, or is there a secret here? And then when you build that interactivity, then naturally people want to be involved. So I think I'm gonna allow that a little bit more.
Because you mentioned being on the couch with you, right? But like that's the image I saw, is playing together, right? And
Yeah.
if you're on the couch, like I'd be like, "Hey Ash, go try this corner there and like push the button or whatever," you know? Like I'll be telling you, like if not, I'm just sitting there watching you eating Cheetos or something, and like,
Right.
you know, it's not the same experience. So I'll definitely be there telling you a few tips and tricks on some games. Now, you know what? Like I remember when I used to stream, you know, retro, especially retro, like I'll be like, okay guys, let me experience this thing for the first time ever, whatever. Let's say it's an RPG. 1 hour in, I'm stuck. I'm like, okay guys, bring it in. Just tell me what this
yeah. What do
I'm
I
stuck.
do? What do I do? Yeah. I mean, as long as people are not like all caps, like, you know.
Right, yeah.
Whatever.
I think it can be a really important tool too in like building your community, right? And giving people a sense of like you said, like, yeah, we're doing this together. Like, it's not necessarily like I'm here and you're there. It's like, no, like we're in this together, like as close as we, you know, could be from miles apart or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it.
Exactly.
So we're getting into a section of the podcast, the episode, where we have a few segments coming up, and the next one is the first time we're ever going to do it, or it's the first time we're doing it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
It's called Explain This Tweet.
Okay.
And Meredith's she has a few tweets with her, but she's gonna ask one. We're gonna pick one, and you need to tell us what this tweet is about, like kind of like behind the scenes of where this is coming from.
Okay.
So I'll let Meredith take it away from there.
Okay, I love this.
Okay, cool, awesome. We're excited. Okay, we're gonna do this one. What am I going to do with my life now was what my mom exclaimed to me when she thought she beat Elden Ring just now. She didn't beat it, but moved on to a new section, and you could see the joy on her face when she realized there was still more to do.
Yes, you know what's funny about that is that I debated for like a good hour of whether or not I should post that tweet or not. Like, I debated in my mind because I was like, yo, if my mom sees this, like, is she gonna yell at me? Why are you putting this on Twitter?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And because, so I was on the couch. So the way my mom's room is, she has like one couch on this wall and then another couch on this wall. So I was sitting on this couch and she was sitting on this couch with the TV right in front of her, like a big, like 70-inch TV, right? Playing Elden Ring. So I'm laying there and she got up to this part in the game that she had never been to before, and she killed a boss, like real easy. And because remember I said like her character is like level 1 million. And so she killed a boss, and then she was like, did I just beat the game by accident? And I was like, I don't know. I don't play this game. Like, I don't know where you are in the game. And she, like, this cutscene happened, and then, like, there was something going on with a tree, and she was like...
No spoilers.
I'm sorry, yes. Okay, so something happened, and she was like, did I just beat the game? But then, like, after the cutscene finally ended, it warped her to another spot. And she was like, oh my God, thank God. I thought I beat the game. I don't want this game to end. And I was just like, I know she's not here, like, freaking out of whether or not she beat this game or not. So then I wrote that, and I was like, I think this is definitely a situation that people can relate to. Because you know what's really important to me too, actually, is this is very much a conscious decision on my part. When I share things on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, my intent is to share something that's gonna make people light up or laugh or smile. I feel like so much of gaining traction on social media is jumping on the bandwagon of getting onto something that everybody hates, or something that people also want to like talk trash on, or, you know, being like part of like the controversy or like the drama alert like kind of people. I'm so sick of that. So my focus is to just, you know, always share things that's gonna add something to somebody's day, whether that's a laugh or a smile or whatever. And it might be a slower way to grow, but I feel like it'll create like, you know, interactions that'll be more long lasting versus when you are part of the drama. Like, it's like once it's over, like they are done with you, or they're always looking for that. When is she going to post something like, you know, controversial? So I put that there because I knew it would make people laugh. And then I showed it to her, and then I was showing her like all the comments that people were saying, because 9 times out of 10, everybody's like, your mom plays video games, or she's so cool, or I didn't even get to that part.
I
Like,
mean,
she's
not
so
only does she play
badass.
video game, but she plays Elden Ring as well.
I know.
And she's good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Good at it. And I keep telling her all the time, I'm like, Mom, you should just stream this on Twitch. Like, people will watch you.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And well, she doesn't want to have anything to do with that. But I tried. But yeah, no, I just thought it would be really fun and funny. And when she saw like all the responses, it really made her feel happy. So that was really, really nice. That's where it came from.
That's
Very
so
cool.
sweet. Yeah, that's great.
Now we also have some audience questions.
Sure.
We have a couple here, and so I'll let Meredith take it away.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so our first one reads, Hey Ash, I'm a big fan of you and can relate to you in many ways. I also love playing video games and I'm an avid traveler. But I find it hard to continue gaming while I'm on the road without my proper setup. Do you have any advice for me and others like me on how to enjoy video games while on the road?
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, I mean, that's a big reason why I really love my Nintendo Switch, because let's say you want to, well, first of all, if you just want to play, period, like without even thinking about broadcasting or anything like that, like the Switch lineup is so awesome, and the fact that they added like, Sega Genesis, N64, NES, and like all that stuff to like the classic console library, it gives you a lot of room to like move around with if you want to go from like classic content to like like modern stuff. And also the fact that there's like so many demos on there and like a lot of indie stuff, like there's such a really big wide library. But I also really love it because if I need to be mobile and I do want to stream from there, like all I need is my laptop, my capture card, the Switch plugs into HDMI, and like my camera, and that's a great way to be like mobile and gaming. I wish there was a way that I could hook up like a DS or a Game Boy.
Right. Oh,
to
you
that.
can. You
Like,
just need to get it modded. It's very expensive.
yeah. That would be a dream, to like be able to get my DS modded so that I could be able to capture from it. Like that would be so cool. But yeah, that would be like my first go-to way of doing it. Or if you have the money to also invest in a Mr. FPGA, that is like such an incredible device.
I'm
Like,
not even aware what that is.
oh
Wait.
my gosh.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's awesome. The Mr. FPGA is open
I'm
source.
Googling it right now.
So it stands for, FPGA stands for Field Programmable Gate Array. And what that means is,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Sorry, yeah.
yeah,
Please.
it's like a piece of hardware that reconfigures itself whenever you select a core, and it's as close to real hardware that you can get without actually having the real hardware. It's hardware simulation versus software emulation.
Yep.
So it runs, no lag, like the sound is like emulated, like the sound is reproduced really closely, the image is produced as close as possible. It's just an excellent way also to preserve video games. But like I said, it's open source, so people are developing for it all the time. They just made the Sega CD core, and that is very, like, you can get it with a case and make it very like easy to travel with. So I would highly recommend that. But
Awesome.
it is quite an investment.
We have another question.
We do. Next one reads, Hi, Ash. I'm a woman who has loved gaming and content creation all of my life. I've recently been trying to get into streaming, but I feel as a female in this industry, there are a lot of stereotypes, expectations, and barriers that I need to overcome if I want to be successful. What was your journey at the start like? And did you also feel this pressure to fit into the classic gamer girl stereotype?
I think my journey at the beginning, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of like atypical in the sense where I don't really listen to anything that anyone can tell me that they'll be like, oh, this won't happen, or this is not possible. Like any kind of like little voice inside of my head or somebody else like saying that, like I just ignore. I think that's kind of how I got through a lot of things in my life, like just by, kind of being bold and just like going for things and things like that. Like, in the beginning, I kind of like, I feel like the reason why like I have an easy time doing this as well is because I'm just who I am. Like, if you were to meet me in real life at a convention or something, like, you'd be like, this is Ash all the time. Like, this is just who she is. So I feel like when I first started, I was always just me, like talking about why I love, like I always pick things that I really love. And I think that's really, really important to whatever you're doing. Like, if you're getting into this and you're starting from scratch, you never did anything like this before, you've got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And can I be consistent? And I think those are important no matter what. But as a woman in the industry, I think that, yeah, it can be difficult because like there were times where I used to play, FPS games online, on my Xbox, and I would have my mic muted because if they found out I was a girl, I was either going to get hit on or told that I sucked. You know what I'm saying? And I think that in the beginning, you might deal with that. Like, people always say, like, you have it easier because you're a woman, or, like, if you use your body, there's something wrong with you. It's like, just let people live and do whatever that they, want to do, like, to make them, be successful in life. There's space for everybody. So I think that sometimes those are the things that people already anticipate going into this. But I wouldn't even approach it from that sense of like anticipate that you're going to have these problems. I would say anticipate how you're going to create solutions. So instead of being like, oh, there's going to be people that are going to attack me for being me, it's like, no, I'm going to be who I am and be strong, and people are going to love it, and that's what I'm going to focus on. That's what I always focus on, is like this is how I'm going to approach this and be successful at it versus this is why this is going to be an issue for me. So I think women in the industry, like, you've got to focus on like what it is that you can bring and how it is you can empower others just by being you and being like, a force of nature within this space. So I would say, you could also find other women content creators to learn from who have also been, because that helped me a lot too in the beginning. Like, I would always be asking questions like, what did you do to handle this? How do you keep yourself safe? How do you, deal with X, Y, and Z when this situation comes along? That will always be a really good resource too. So, go out there, be strong, and live your best life online and play games that you love, and don't feel like you got to apologize for that.
Love that.
Agreed. Yeah.
Perfect.
100%.
Thank you.
Is it time for the rapid fire questions section? We need like an intro, super like hypey, rapid fire.
Love it.
Something.
That was perfect. Yeah, just do that every time. Okay, so we have a bunch of random questions for you. You don't get to think about them. You just have to answer. Like, don't even take a second. Just say something. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Live in the Sahara Desert or live in Antarctica?
Oh, the desert.
Okay, Adidas or Nikes?
Adidas.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Thanksgiving.
Okay. No music for the rest of your life or no video games for the rest of your life?
Oh, no music.
Okay. Oof. Yeah, that's tough. Sorry. Hamsters or raccoons?
Raccoons.
Okay. Rap or R&B?
Rap.
Books or movies?
Books.
Swimming or drowning?
Swimming.
I like how you took a second. You're like, oh yeah, that's obvious. TikTok or Twitter?
Oh, TikTok.
Live in a cave for 3 years or don't live in a cave for 3 years?
Don't live in a cave for 3 years.
Yeah, I feel you. Painting or sketching?
Sketching.
Apple or Windows?
Apple. Mm-hmm.
How much wood could a woodchuck if you asked nicely?
Probably 10 chucks.
Okay, that's correct. Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Science fiction or fantasy?
Fantasy.
Okay, you crushed it. You passed. You're allowed to move on.
Nice. Well, that concludes the episode, guys. Ash, thank you so much for being part of it.
Yes, thank you.
Meredith, the same to you. Thank you, both of you guys. Thank you for everybody listening at home. And again, if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, share, tell your families and friends. Now, also, check out AshSaidHi online on Twitch at twitch.tv/AshSaidHi. That's AshSaidHi. It's the same on Twitter and TikTok. Certainly check her out there as well. And don't forget to let us know if you want to see another content creator on this podcast in the comments below. Ash, do you have anything else you want to add to or tell our audience before we go?
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity in sharing your ears and your eyes with this awesome channel. Thank you so much to you two, Meredith and Xavier, for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure and so much fun. And I hope I get to share the joy of Nintendo and retro with you all soon.
Awesome. We'll
Yay.
definitely be there. Guys, thank you. And we'll be back next Tuesday, as always, with another episode. Thanks for listening.